For the past few months or so, I've been taking monthly by injection a psychiatric medication prescribed called Haldol, spelled Haldol, actually Haldol deck. It's been my understanding that it's been a something like lower moderate dose, relatively speaking. I've been taking Haldol for a few months. It occurred to me today that perhaps one thing that's been going on with me that has been unusual for me over the past few months, and related to my experience of what I've considered something like boredom, has been the following. That Haldol perhaps has partly severed the connection between my thoughts and my behaviors. Such that I've had thoughts of, in any given day, of doing something. I've had a thought come to my mind of I could do X, or I could do Y, or I could do Z. And then I end up doing none of them, at least for a while. And I basically have, over the past few months, in my mind, to me, gotten little done. I've done a fair amount of pacing back and forth over the past few months, more so than, say, a year ago. I am back on Abilify, which is, I was on Wellbutrin and Lexapro and Abilify for a while. And then I went off of Abilify, and perhaps partly off of Lexapro, while still maintaining being on Wellbutrin. Perhaps what could be beneficial could be doing an experiment with switching from Haldol to a different antipsychotic medication, a different thought wrangling medication, thought calming medication, a different medication that, other than Haldol, that does not affect dopamine, the neurotransmitter dopamine. Because I have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And I was taking Wellbutrin, the antidepressant Wellbutrin, for a while. And Wellbutrin was, in my mind, to my understanding, it was basically increasing dopamine in my brain, in my system. And that was helping with depression, or at least certain aspects of depression. But then this Haldol medication, which has been, in my mind, supposed to help with thought disorder, and I have had a thought disorder. I mean, my thinking has at times been sick. Part of the root of my, my spiritual disease, my spiritual sickness. So my thoughts have been sick, in part, not completely, but in part. Over the past few years, I'm more open to recognizing that now. So I've had this thought of going off of Haldol and actually going off of all antipsychotic, i.e., all thoughts regulating medications. And perhaps that might be a worthwhile experiment, but what could also be an equally worthwhile experiment at this point would be switching from Haldol to a different antipsychotic. Whether it is supposed to not reduce dopamine or whatever, just a different antipsychotic, and to see what the effect is. Basically, experimenting with and seeing, like, will everything be the same except for I'll actually be getting more done. Switching might be a way to go. I'm not sure. I called a man I trust, left a message in his voicemail about the topic of perhaps, possibly stopping taking Haldol. There has been an appointment scheduled for me to get a shot of Haldol tomorrow, Tuesday. And then there's been an appointment set up for me with a psychiatrist in about like a week or two. So perhaps I could not get the Haldol shot tomorrow, and then in a week or two or so sit down with a psychiatrist, and I could discuss the stuff that I've been discussing here, and basically maybe first see what he says about. I could just discuss what's been going on with me in the past, and without mentioning my specific thoughts of stopping antipsychotics completely and seeing what happens, or without discussing or saying that I've had a thought of switching antipsychotics and trying a different one. I could first just describe sort of my symptoms, my problems, and see what he says in terms of medication. And if he doesn't particularly bring up any modifications of medication, I could bring up modifications of medication. I could start with sort of like honesty first, and then like ideation if need be. Because medications can be a runaway train. And eventually I wish to be off them. And I've been afraid that eventually there shall be people, as I'm trying to get off of medications, all psychiatric medications at some point, I've been afraid that there shall be people who shall oppose me doing that. I've been reticent to take more psychiatric medication. To me, it's just the less the better, basically. Less the better in terms of easier to get off of them eventually, and less hassle and such. I have hope. One thing that has worried me is this thought. I had this thought, and the thought was, if I stop taking antipsychotics completely, or actually if I stop taking Haldol, and actually all antipsychotics completely, if I stop that, then it'll create drama with some people, like some people around me, like namely the people who I'm residing with currently, including my mother. I've thought that it shall create drama, and that has appealed to me because I've been experiencing something like boredom. And that was an unhealthy motivation and an unhealthy, sick thought that came to mind. It was manipulative. It was codependently manipulative to create drama in order for me to feel okay. Because to relieve my something like boredom. That, whatever that was, that motivation or thought, that was basically not okay. And I wish to state that firmly. I admitted that to God a little bit ago. I told God about my thought, my motivation that occurred to me, and got honest about it in that way. I have hope. And, mainly, this getting things done thing is I wish to do something such that I'm working on my fourth step more frequently than I have been. Because I've been working on my fourth step basically infrequently. And I've been, not only that, I've been pretty much doing things infrequently. Or something like that. I need more recovery. I've experienced some. I wish for more. I have hope for more. I have well-founded hope in the power of the living God for more. If anyone's listening to this, thanks for listening to me.